Okay, hopefully that gave it enough preview without cutting off what I'm going to do here. So working with Maverick a little bit. He's been messing with the map. He's been trying to dig into some things a little more, and he's kind of asking about doing some reskinning on some stuff. I know Death Gamer was asking him how to add his little logos on, and when you go to do logos on equipment, it's flat. I mean, you can find logos out there that can be adjusted. I have not done it myself yet, but when you go into your diffuse, it can be very confusing because let's see if we can bring one up here quick. Something I'm working on right now is actually this DPW 180. So I'll use it as an example, but usually, and we'll show you how to find these, what it's looking for in the Giants editor as well. But obviously, trying to look at this thing, you can tell this is turn signals and some brake light stuff, but you can't tell what anything is here. So we're going to show you how or where these pieces of equipment get this information off this diffuse file. And first off, let's go ahead, let's bring the guy up. If you want to find a specific part of this vehicle, trailer, whatever it is, basically you need to find it in the tree over here. Most of the time, stuff is in the visual here. So that's basically the trailer part itself, but I also have all this stuff down here as well. So if I go, like, for example, the axles, I start selecting different parts, as you can see that's just the axle or the drivetrain, I guess you could kind of say. So what you want to do is you select that guy. If this screen isn't here, you just go to your window, you go to material editing, and it'll pop this up. But then it basically tells you where it's trying to find the diffuse, the specular, and the normal. If you click here, it's going to take you to the folder, but sometimes it's far enough down that you can't see the full path. So basically the easiest thing to do is to actually just kind of click in here, and you can scroll through it and see where it ends up. You could copy and paste it somewhere if you wanted as well. So basically, excuse me, what we're going to do is we're going to show you in Blender how you can see where all these parts are. As you can see, there's a bunch of lines here, and in Giants Editor you can't do much with that, but Blender you can. And you're going to need to know a little bit about Blender. I'll show you some things, but yeah. Hey Maverick, I'm actually doing that little quick tutorial for you here. So anyway, first off, when you're going to mess with Blender as well, to not be too advanced, what I suggest is doing this, because you can scale stuff, but you're going to want to go File, Preferences, see if I can find it in here, and right down here there's a scale. I think originally it's either 100 or 10. You're really going to want to put this to 1, because you could have some issues. it causes some issues if you don't do this. So what we're going to do, we're going to select the actual part we want. If we wanted the actual trailer part, the full trailer, what I could do, in fact we'll do that, is you'd want to take, and you want to make sure you don't save anything after you do this, but you want to take all the stuff inside this guy just to make it easier on you, and delete it. And we want to click that visual. As you can see, it's just going to have the trailer part. So you would click this guy, go File, and then go Export Selection. You don't have to worry about all files. And then I'm going to actually go into my Blender folder, and I'm going to just go New, and I'm going to do Tutorial. If I can spell today. Hey Tomo, what's happening, bud? And we're just going to call this guy, just going to go Visual. And I already messed up. I also worry about making the folder. Export Selection. We want to go to a wavefront. This is what you can import through Blender. So wavefront, and then we're going to go Visual. Hit OK. We're going to close this guy and do not save it. Now we also want to make things easier. You can do it without pulling this guy in, but for what I'm going to show as an example, we want to pull that texture I was showing you. And don't worry about all of the normal and diffuse. Once you figure out Giants a little more, you'll figure out you can pull these guys in later anyway. We're going to copy this diffuse. And then, cool, we're making ground markers, huh? data, Blender, look for the tutorial folder if I can find it, tutorial, and we're just going to paste that guy in there, and I'm going to get rid of, this is the stuff I accidentally brought in just so it's not confusing. The base, all we have is our diffuse and our visual object. So we can go ahead and even actually close that guy out. We should be done in Giants Editor for now. You're going to open up Blender. I'll try to do a link for Blender for Noobs. It's going to show you how to kind of maneuver around Blender. The biggest key is using your middle mouse button. You're really going to want a middle mouse button because I can't really... Blender for Noobs tells you how to get around that in the preferences, but I just really suggest having a middle mouse button. But first off, if you've never been in here, you're going to want to go to File, User Preferences, and go to the Input, and by default everything's selected with right. If you're a typical user of Windows, I really suggest that you switch this to left and save your user settings. It's just going to make life easier for you. You're going to be used to it. Now, another huge thing is this screen is usually up by default. If not, you hit the N key on your keyboard, and this is your tools. You're going to want to scroll down, and this guy is normally going to be under multi-texture like that by default. You want to go to GLSL, and you're going to want to click this backface culling. We're not going to get into that a whole lot right now, but you're really going to want to make sure you have that, and I suggest going up and saving that startup file after you do that, because if you don't, you're going to have to go in and do that every time. Trust me, it's just a big... I had a heck of a time and finally figured out by a couple of people on some forums. Black Sheep was one that really helped me. The GLSL and the black face culling has a lot to do with getting a lot of black faces when you get in the game or flashing. So, excuse me, sorry, throat's full. So now what we're going to do, I think that's the basics of that. Like I said, moving around, if you just take your middle mouse key and move up, around, it's just basically your zoom, or not zoom, but you're just looking around. You can scroll in and out to zoom in and out. Shift and the middle mouse button lets you pan around. But like I said, I'm going to let Blender for Noobs go over most of that for you. So now we're going to go File, Import, and we're looking for that wavefront. So you click on that guy, and then we're going to find where you put it. So Blender, and we're going to look for Tutorial. You only have to click once on these folders to get them, and then you have to double click to open something. Double click to open. Alright, so here this guy is. Now, we're going to start going through some keys you need to learn once again through Blender for Noobs, but I'm going to go ahead and end to get rid of this tool thing over here. If I click on that guy, you can see it's selected. If you hit Tab once, it goes into edit mode. You can see down here. If you hit Tab again when it's up here, it goes back to object mode. And basically, that's exactly what it is. You're selecting the whole object, or you're actually going into edit where you can start messing with faces and vertices and all the good fun stuff. And down here is where you get into what I just talked about. There's vertices, which are every single point. It's almost like a pixel, you could say. There's all your lines, which is exactly what we can do. Is if you hit the A button when you're out here. If you don't out here, you're going to do something else, but you have to be out here on this screen, hit A. That's going to select all, unselect all, so you can actually start seeing, like if you click on here, you're going to see a line. Then there's faces. You can see there's these little dots everywhere. You click on there, you're going to get these faces. Now this guy, another thing we're not going to get into is there's already been edge split, so there's a ton of stuff on this. You're kind of seeing some bleeding through. But anyhow, and everything in Giants is triangles. Normally when you start making stuff, you're going to have all these triangles, but when you do a binary save, it's going to start making all these triangles. But back to what we're really wanting to do. So, first off, let's go up here, and if you see this little cross, I'd say, if you click up, if you go up here, you start getting this arrow. If you right click, we can do split area, and you can go left or right depending on where you're moving. I'm just going to put it in the middle screen. We're going to left click if you have that left click that we talked about in the inputs done. We're going to click here. This is your different types of views. We're going to click on this guy and we're going to go to UV image editor. Alright, now here's where the fun begins. This layout, as you can see when I click on these different faces, you can see where it's moving around and showing you where all these parts are. Well, we're going to go a little more advanced and help you out and actually show you how that actually looks on the diffuse. Can you import i3? No, Tomo, you have to. That's why you can. I'm gonna put this on YouTube. You have to do an object file. I already went over that. You just popped in a couple minutes late. So what I'll do is I'll put this on YouTube so you can watch what I'm doing. Now another little trick. I'm not familiar with all these over here because I haven't gotten that advanced myself. But if you click on this guy, the cool thing is you can start clicking on those vertices and faces in this map as well. Like I said, now it must have something to do with the editor object. That's because as you can see the entire layout now. But a lot of times I like to click on that face, so when I click over here, as you can see, it corresponds here as well. So now what we're going to do, make sure you're over on this screen. You can even click there if you want, because you start doing stuff in other screens, if your mouse is over here, it's going to cause you some issues. And a lot of times you hit all a couple of times to make sure you're on that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a material to this guy. So here is your materials tab. And we're just going to hit new. You can rename it if you want. You don't really need to for what we're doing. And even if you're going to export it, it's just going to say material. I mean, if you want, like I said, you can put viz or you could put trailer body. It doesn't really matter if you want to get really good at keeping everything the way the file system is. You'd always hit the first word would be lowercase, second would be upper, but when you hit OK or enter. Alright, so we've added a material to this guy. And sometimes you're better off you can do it in the object. Once again, if you watch down here when I hit tab or object, edit. And once again, give you an idea, if I'm in object and I hit shift A, we can actually add a camera, or I'm sorry, a lamp. A Hemi here is about the best to see everything. Now that gives you a better idea of what object does. You know, we're clicking there or we're clicking here. If I go to edit mode, when I click out here, I can't see this guy because I'm stuck on this Feigl visual. So once again, hit tab, I can go to the lamp or the trailer. But anyhow, getting off subject again. So, and is that also you'll see when I click on that, it changes everything over here as well. So you want to make sure you're in object mode and trailer. It's going to kind of make things easier on this side. Now we're going to go over here is your texture tab. Excuse me, I'm all stuffed up. I apologize. So we're going to go to texture. Once again, we're just going to hit new. You can name this if you want. I don't usually mess with it as well. And we're going to go to open. This is where it comes in to be important that we pulled that file over. You can pull it in from anywhere. It's just if you go to export, it can cause you some issues. Or if you save this file, it's not going to be there. So more than likely, you're going to have to go back and redo that texture. So we're going to go data, Blender, and we had it on tutorial. We're going to go ahead and just open that diffuse. Now, so we can get a little goofy. As you can see, nothing's over here yet. If I hit that tab, hit all, you can see all these faces. This gets, I'm a little new to this as well, but what I like to do is select everything here, and if you click down here and actually click on this diffuse file, ta-da, look, we have everything now, and all the stuff that's missing is stuff I've taken off this trailer. But as you can see now, it's starting to make more sense how this guy is laid out. As you can see, obviously, we scroll in, and the same thing here. If you take your middle mouse button and move around, you know, you can. This was just a 2D. You're not going to have a 3D, so you can see you're starting to see the actual parts of the trailer now. And once again, corresponding, you start clicking on them parts of the trailer and zoom back out here. You can see where they're actually at. So let's say we want to look at this subframe. As you can see, it's right here. So this answers the question of how you can actually see, and once again there's your tail lights, and another little trick and why I did the little Hemi. See, if this light isn't here, I close this out, hit delete, if we actually go to material, we can actually see what everything's going to look on that trail. See how it's all black right now? Well, once again, if we go hit tab and go back to object mode, and like I said, we hit, and you can go add, or I'm just going shift A, but add lamp. And you can only do this, and if you try to do this, if we're back in edit mode, come on, tab, had to have it selected, and you go to add, it's going to start doing parts. So once again, you need to be in object mode, add, lamp, and the image just works a little better. Click on that guy. As you can see now, we actually have some colors and some texturing to this guy. Hey, we're clear. Sorry, but I'm doing a little tutorial, so I'm not paying much attention to the chat. I apologize. But as you can see now, you can actually see where there's parts of this trailer and colors and everything. So that's why the light is helpful. So back to what we really wanted to do this video on. Once again, if I go edit mode and we hit A a couple of times, so this is all selected. If you really want to get advanced here, like I said, I showed you where you can actually, what you could do is you could pull us to the side, open up the diffuse in paint.net. But I'm going to show you how to even make this even a little better, I guess I could say. So what you can do is you can actually go to your UVs, and once again you have to have it all selected. If you only select one of these or two of these, it's only going to export that one spot. So you want to make sure you have all. Hit A a couple times so you see everything highlighted over here. You're going to go UVs. You're going to export UV layout. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go data, blender. We're going to go tutorial. And I'm going to type in UV layout. If you want to get specific, write that again. It's a good idea to get used to that. Hit OK or enter. You can hit enter again or just hit export UV layout. Alright, now if we minimize this guy and we go find that file, now this is kind of cool because if we open up this UV layout, see how it has all the lines on there? Now what you can do is you can open up this diffuse as well. And if you're familiar with layers, you can hit Control A to select all, Control C to copy. You can click over here, go edit, paste into new layer. You don't want to just paste, you want to paste into new layer. Now, depending on how you have this guy set up, you put what layer in front of what, if I'm not making any sense in English even, or if you can actually take, so if this guy is on the top and this one's on the bottom, you can actually see these grids. But you could also go in here and turn this opacity down to see your lines a little better if you wanted. But this will just give you a better concept as well. If you want to start editing this guy, it'll show you the actual lines. So what I would suggest is you want to start drawing, say you want to write something on here. You would take this guy and kind of get him out of the way. I suggest having another monitor, obviously, because it's going to be tough. You can, make these screens smaller or whatever, but it's going to be a little tough to see without a second monitor. But we'll see what we can do here. And map's coming along there, Everclear. I keep getting sidetracked with other projects, but it's coming along. So now you could actually go in there and correspond, like say, once again, you can see obviously this is the trailer top. So I could go in here and I could let's see, I want to make sure I have this layer selected. The background is visible so you can see where the lines are. But I could come in here and I could make sure I'm on this layer. I could go into text. Click here. Let's crank this up a little bit. Hello. '96. Like so. And then I'm actually going to get rid of that background. I'm going to go File, Save As. And here's the other thing. Everything's done in PNG. Excuse me again. usually in Blender, but we're going to go ahead and go to DDS so we get used to this. We're going to select this guy, and I'm going to replace it, make sure I am not replacing something else. Hit yes, and then I suggest on a diffuse, and I'm console kind of like this as well, if you don't have any invisible parts, and actually, you know what, I already almost screwed us up too. I'll turn that opacity down. Let's turn the opacity back up. File, save as. I'm going to go to DDS. I just always use DTX5, and you want to do generate bitmap as well. That helps for graphic reasons, and we're going to hit OK. I want to get out of here. Now we could go in and open this texture up again, or if I just hit refresh, you can see the hello is there, and as you can see already, it's going to be mirrored, so that doesn't even work so well on this. It's oh, and you know what? I already did something. I already forgot a part to tell you guys as well. Something you want to do when you bring something in right away as well. So this wasn't a bad example, but something you want to do as well when you're in object mode, before you start messing with UVs and stuff. Once you get everything set to where you want, you're going to unwrap. You hit Control A, and then you actually can rock. You can lock your rotation and scale. So what happens then is when you import something into Giant's editor, this manipulator is going to be right. If not, it's going to be twisted around, and you're not going to be used to it when you get it over there. But yeah, so as you can see, and this probably has something to do with them saving space as well, but it's mirrored. So as simple as just going in and writing something on there, as you can see, this is a bad example. But you could go once again into your folder or your file, and let's see if we can let's go file, new. It's fine, and we're just going to go Control A, delete, text. Try this again. 96. Hello. Go image. I'm trying to think if there's a mirror, because basically this is a mirror. It's flipping it horizontal. Let's try that. So if we select this guy, Control C, edit, and if you paste into new layer, you won't get all the dashes in the background. New layer, and actually Control Z, switch it to white. Oops. Control A, delete, text, hello. Grab this, Control C, edit, paste into new layer, and I forgot to twist it. Jeez. Image, flip horizontally. Control C, edit, paste into new layer. Hey, we got it. I don't even know if this is going to work. We're going to try. Now, you're going to want to flatten this guy or merge them all down. File, save as, overwrite this guy, DTX5, generate bitmap, and we'll go to Blender and hit refresh again and see. There we go. So that worked. I don't even know how to explain that, but sometimes it gets turned around, and it might have had to do with me forgetting to actually lock the rotation first. And like I said, we're not going to get into that right now, but this will show you how to find your faces. That's the biggest thing, and an image usually isn't going to be an issue. If you put an image in, you won't have a problem. You want to start typing, then yes, you're going to have a problem. So say we want to go, let's find I don't have a copy of DG's logos right. I have them somewhere, but right offhand, let's just go to HUD files. Say we want to go into a HUD file. Right, and that, like Maverick is saying, sometimes your tractor sides will be mirrored as well. So let's just go to like beef HUD here. That's, I think, from the PV River. Is going to hit Control A, Control C, edit, paste into new layer. Just pull that guy right there. We're going to merge this down. Let's save again. Now when we refresh, as you can see, it's not a big deal with. Of course, it actually. Okay, yeah, it is mirrored. Okay, see, I'm starting to talk to myself. But as you can see, with an image, as long as there's no wording on it, it doesn't really matter. And if you were that concerned, once again, once you figured out what you have to do, if you go to image and just flip vertically or image, flip horizontally, you can fix that. But as far as if there's two sides to a piece of equipment, like Maverick was just saying in chat, then you're going to have some other issues. You're going to have to either add a logo, and if you wanted to do that as well, it's not a big deal. What you can do is you can select a few of these faces. Say you want to actually take this part of the trailer and put a logo on there. Say there was a mirror issue on like a side of a tractor. This is kind of a bad example because it's a full face, but you would click on this face, shift, click on that face, and then if you hit P, you're going to separate, and we're going to go by selection. So now if we hit tab to go into object mode, you click here, you can see we're selecting the different areas. Now you could actually pull this guy up, and then you could literally export that plane and use it as a logo or a label, if it makes any sense at all. And I should have actually, and you would want to save this because half the trailer is gone, but you're just trying to get this part. So basically you could take this guy, delete him, and then once again, like I said, you're going to have this as your logo or label. But anyway, I'm already getting beyond what I was trying to do with this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop the video, and then we'll just get into regular stream. That way if there's questions we can get into that. But I just wanted to show a basic of how this layout can help you in Blender rather than just trying to guess and edit some files. So I'm going to stop the stream here, guys, and I will be right back on in a couple of seconds.